Yes, yes, yes. Peace to the black gamer who are actually the biblical Israelites. It's me, brother Micah. And today I want to take a minute to talk to you guys about what black gamers need to know about the video game industry. The reason I'm making this video is because black gamers are completely um bamboozled, man, confused. You understand? Subjugated, um, subjugated. What else can I really say? They have full-on Stockholm syndrome, right? We came here on slave ships, um, got utterly destroyed, spiritually, economically, physically, and for some reason, well, for spiritual reasons, Negroes have completely forgotten. And now they have fallen victim to every single trap that their oppressor, the so-called white man, has set. Everywhere you see the so-called Negro, they're begging for acceptance. In the gaming industry, begging for acceptance. At work, begging for acceptance. In sports, begging for acceptance. Everywhere. Right? The so-called Negro, who is the biblical Israelite, the rightful ruler and owner of the entire world, has become a beggar, man. And so it is my responsibility as an Israelite to teach you how to stop being a beggar. Because if you don't stop being a beggar, our God is going to destroy you at the return of our true black Messiah, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, man. Right? And so I must give you this information, right? That being said, what do black gamers need to know about the video game industry? Well, recently I heard and had so many complaints about how gaming sucks right now. White quote unquote gamers who are actually the biblical Edomites, whom God hates, by the way, have been complaining. Black gamers, so-called black gamers, who are actually, of course, the biblical Israelites, whom God loves above all people. He tells you that in the book of Second Ezra, the sixth chapter, if you read from 54 on down, um, have also been complaining, right? Not just them, but literally anyone in between. All gamers of all nationalities have been complaining about how terrible gaming is right now. But why? Why are games so bad all of a sudden? Well, I'll attempt to provide the answers in the next, 5 or 10 minutes. So first, I want to kind of give you a little bit of a background, right? When I was growing up, I loved video games. They were so novel, fun, and I was so young and dumb that I did almost no critical analysis of this hobby that I enjoyed so much. I sunk over 100 hours into gaming as a child and enjoyed games like Zelda, Chrono Trigger, and Double Dragon, without thinking to myself, man, this would be so much better if it wasn't so white, right? From my teens to my young adulthood, I continued to mindlessly game. I was more concerned with story and gameplay than anything else. And I never once considered the spiritual meaning of my hobby. During this period in my gaming journey, I enjoyed games like Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, Assassin's Creed 2, Black Flag, and Batman Arkham Asylum. I enjoyed these games because their gameplay was fresh, innovative, and fun. Fresh, innovative, and fun, right? These three words you barely ever hear now within the gaming industry. Barely. And yet every year these shills uh, keep talking about how it was the best year in gaming. I'm gonna show you how, well, m most of them are shills, but some of them, there's a reason why they believe it's the best year. It's been the best year in gaming, right? And the long and short of it is because the games are made for them. They're not made for you, right? So, even though um, these games that I mentioned before were not so secretly very white, quote unquote, I didn't care. But why? Well, why didn't I care? The reason I didn't care, and the reason most Negroes don't care, especially in the youth, about the spiritual meaning of games is because we have been conditioned since our birth to believe that everything white, quote unquote, is good, that it's right, that it's holy, and that it's high. All the following are advertised as white, whether the reality is true or not, right? They tell you if it's good, it's white. If it's right, it's white. If it's high, it's white. If it's holy, it's white, right? We are taught that our best scientists are white, quote unquote. Jesus is white, quote unquote. The angels are white. God is white. The heroes in our comics are all white, or almost all white, and they want nothing else but to unify the world in the bond of peace, to save the world, to be the hero for everybody to be um, uh, considered and classed as one. Does this sound familiar, right? Maybe. If it doesn't, well, you need to pay closer attention. If it does sound familiar, it's because it's the same propaganda that Edomites, so-called white people, have been using on the world for over 2,000 years. While they lie, murder, cheat, and steal their way to wealth. They've been telling you, we're all one. They've been telling you, you matter. And everything else that they gotta say. So you sit down in a corner, shut up, make the purchase, and prop them up, man, from the bottom. You have been thoroughly colonized, man. And that's why some of you have already stopped watching the video. You understand? You know, they tell this propaganda, they tell these lies in all mediums as they broadcast their spells, right? It is indeed no coincidence that the way they spread information is rooted in words related to witchcraft. Witchcraft being not only, communion with evil spirits, but psychological warfare. Okay. Also, biological warfare when you understand it biblically, right? Because the word that is translated, for example, as witchcraft is actually pharmakia. And what is pharmakia? Pharmakia is the creation of drugs, man. Taking the Most High's natural remedies and creating drugs with them, analogs, copies, so you can sell it to people and make money, man. Analogs with side effects that kill you, man, and destroy your health. You're dealing with witches and warlocks. And that's why they love the concepts so much in video games. You're almost all, once you're talking about fantasy games, you're a witch, you're a warlock, you're a son of a dragon. Do you guys realize that the dragon, the word translated as dragon is serpent? So you're playing all these games and you are embodying Satan. Now gamers might be like, oh, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does matter. First Corinthians chapter 10, verse 30 tells you whatever you do, do it to the glory of the Most High. If you're playing a game as a damn dragonborn, that's a serpentborn. That's born of the devil. You are engaging in devil worship, man. That's what you're doing. Many people, including Israelites, use entertainment to escape from righteousness. When they get into the entertainment space, it's a no holds barred thing. And God doesn't deal with that. The Most High don't work with that. That's a blind spot and you need to fix it, right? That being said, through oppression and deceit, the so-called white man, the Edomite, has induced Stockholm syndrome in most of the world, as God predicted would occur in Revelations 13, verse 3 to 4 in the King James Bible, and 2nd Ezra's chapter 11, 37 to 40 in the King James Bible with the Apocrypha. This is why I didn't care about the spiritual meaning of games, and this is why you probably don't care right now, right? You've been brainwashed, bamboozled. You have a spell cast upon you, man. You understand? And there are mystical portions of spell casting, but a lot of spell casting simply happens through what's called enchantment. They make a thing seemingly beautiful, right? They use beauty, carnal things, in order to attract you. The graphics are nice. The boobs are showing. The girl is half dressed. These are the enchantments that are used to get you basically to invest, man, to give yourself over to be destroyed spiritually and have fun while you're doing it, you know? Let's talk about how I woke up, all right? So what has happened? Here's the red pill for you. I mean, you guys have been getting a bit of it already, but here's the main dosage. Here's a shot for you, right? In out of the shot glass. What has happened in the gaming industry, just like in every other industry, is that people who have forcefully colonized the world have now convinced mostly everyone that they're the good guys by repeating that they're the good guys for over 2,000 years. That works out very well for them as they end up with the money, but more importantly, the minds of the people they have fooled. People like you and I, by filtering the world through a white supremacist lens. Okay? There's an old adage, I believe it's in the Art of War, where it talks about death by 1,000 cuts. This is how the Edomite has come to um, destroy the minds of everyone around the world. It's through 1,000 cuts, man. Spell casting through his media until you internalize that he is more powerful, stronger, um, uh, handsome, more beautiful than your own damn people, man. This is how he tricked everyone, right? Subtly changing the color of each pixel in your perception till all you see is him, you know? But they can't fool everyone all the time, though. You know, as a famous Edomite Bob Marley said, but it doesn't matter because once they fool the majority, the minority is silenced. This is why their political policy is that majority rules. As soon as you begin to care about having your race's ideas, freedoms, or even something as simple as their likeness represented in games, for example, you begin to realize that gaming is almost completely white. There's no surprise there because of the aforementioned colonization, evidenced by the fact that 70% of gamers are white men in their 30s. This represents a market with money to spend. So any wise businessman will ensure that these customers are happy. In fact, they don't even have to consider the happiness of other customers as they can make their profits from the 70% white men. This is why you see white male gaming YouTubers blow up like the World Trade. See what I did there? Right? R.I.P. Biggie. I pray he made it, but he probably didn't. I don't even care that it's like that, to be honest. I'm just exposing it so you black gamers understand why gaming is so bad these days, especially for us. Because companies only care about maximum profits and not social or spiritual issues, many of them, especially the publicly traded ones like Ubisoft, continue to cater to their white customers by creating power fantasies that they like. Even when they do decide to include non-Edomite leads in games, we mostly end up with gross misrepresentations and inauthentic black characters that are still based on Edomite ideals and ideas, man. You cannot get authentic black characters written by so-called white people. It can't work. That's why you have the Dishonored series where the black woman's a damn lesbian. The black community does not deal with homosexuality, man. It's taboo and frowned upon in our community. But yet you make a black lead character and she's a lesbian, and her mentor is a Edomite. You make a black Spider-Man, his mentor is an Edomite. They have to insert themselves somehow in a position of power in whatever they do. That's the norm in gaming. Why? Because of their audience. I'm not mad. I just understand what's going on. And you need to understand what's going on. So you can spend your dollars where you are represented and uplifted and not just be a beggar, right? To illustrate that games are made mostly um, to satisfy white power fantasies. When we think about magic, being a magician, what's that? It's a white power fantasy. You make a military shooter. What's that? It's a white power fantasy. Being the Rambo that goes in there, kills everyone for America or for the Queen or whatever other kind of nonsense. Or the king, right? When you think about zombies, white power fantasy, capable, sexy, quote unquote, white woman, that's a white power fantasy. Negroes are not sitting there dreaming about so-called white women, man. Normal Negroes, Negroes with destroyed minds are doing that. And I used to be one of them till I realized this is wrong, man, before my God. My God made my women for me and other women for their other nations. And he said, don't mix because we are holy, set apart. And when you read the history books, even the kings in the medieval times, they said that the Hebrews, the Jews, treat everyone else with contempt and their own people with tenderness. But now we treat other people with tenderness, and most of us, or many of us, I should say, treat our own people with contempt, man. The world is upside down. As God said, the so-called white man would turn it, you know. Surely your turning of the world upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. Look it up, right? So all these power fantasies are put in your face constantly because they're the power fantasies that the paying audience, the majority audience, wants to experience. This is why games mostly suck today and have pretty much always mostly sucked. It's just that today we are much more aware And the colonizers have circled jokes so long that everyone, including some of their own audience, is kinda tired of seeing it. I say kinda because Edomite gamers will still fawn over remixes of their classic power fantasies, like what we're watching right now, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, for example. Right? So don't be a coon and go buy this game, for example, right? Unless you're using it to illustrate, you know, uh, to comment, I should say, on, white supremacist ideals, man, that it pushes. Don't go buy this as a beggar, man. This is not made for you. You're not included. So don't be so desperate to play that you go put $100 in these guys' pocket, man. Play games that honor your God, man. Do things in your games that honor your God, man. That is the law. So knowing this, let's see some lights in the dark. Because I keep saying most companies, because it's not all of them. Some companies either advertently or inadvertently do the right thing. So let's talk about that for a little bit. There are only a few companies that dare to step into the market of the other 30% of people to create games that speak to those people or games that can also speak to those people, right? And these companies, you know, um, I'm grateful for, you know, and I have yet to see a company do that and fail. Perhaps I'm misinformed, but I haven't seen it, you know. I'm grateful for these companies because without them, I simply would have stopped playing video games in the modern age. I would have given up this hobby already. Games like Little Gator Game, The Walking Dead by Telltales, No Man's Sky, and Fallout 4 are some games that have stepped out of their comfortable colonial chairs to allow all players to express themselves. Excuse me. They are some of the few games where the other 30% of gamers are not ignored but leveraged. Little Gator Game did it through childhood creativity as a theme, No Man's Sky and Greedfall, through fearless writing, real choice and an open story. Fallout 4 and Technomancer did it through real faction choice and consequences. Even Vampire has done this through real choice and consequences. That game allows players to express themselves fully. They can engage and be a vampire, not be a vampire, be a doctor, not be a doctor. They can fully express themselves even though that character is a so-called white man. And this is rare in RPGs especially, which is so weird because it's called an RPG. You're supposed to be able to play whatever role you want. As an example, when you play Mass Effect, you can't side with the Reapers. That's insane. You have this Mass 3 game trilogy where essentially the company decides what I can and can't do, how I should deal with the problem facing the galaxy. I already know why they do this. They're colonizers. And so they have to um, repeat the propaganda of heroism for all for one and one for all. They have to repeat it because if they don't, they run the risk of people realizing it's not all for one and one for all. and of people acting in their own interests rather than in the interests of white supremacy, colonization, and the system, man. So they have to keep um putting you to sleep. But how long will you sleep? How long will you slumber, ye children of Israel? The Most High asked that in the Bible, man. How long you sleeping children will you love sleep, man? I'm paraphrasing greatly, but the Most High asked that in the scriptures, man. How long you gonna sleep? How long, you simple children, sorry, he said, will you love simplicity? How long will you just quickly ignore a video as soon as it starts telling you the truth about your colonizer and the state of your mind? How long you gonna love to just ignore wisdom, knowledge, and understanding? The Most High asks you that. There's gonna come a day when you can no longer ignore wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And that's one of 2 days. The day of judgment, when wisdom, knowledge, and understanding is what will rule the world. Or on the day you breathe your last breath, when you open your eyes and you see the Lord of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding asking you why you didn't embrace none of it. And you will not have a good answer because all your answers will be excuses. The only answer is for people to reject truth is that they love lies. And God tells you that if you are his friend, you are an enemy of the world. So you can't be a friend of the world and a friend of God. It simply doesn't work. That's an Edomite doctrine, a colonial doctrine, the so-called white man's doctrine to get you killed spiritually and physically. So why is this important, what I'm talking about? Almost done here. Why is it important? It's important for black gamers to know these things because in our history book called the Bible by the uninitiated, our God says that we ought to do everything to his glory, right? You can find that in 1 Corinthians 10:31, as I said before. I'm revealing what's happening in the gaming industry, not for them to fix it, because they certainly won't, but so that you can start gaming to our Father's glory. He's black. He has dreads, most likely, right? Because the holiest of our people had dreadlocks, and the Most High is the Holy of Holies, right? Christ, I believe, also had dreads because the Most High made sure he grew up amongst the Nazarites, who were people um, who kept themselves extra holy for the Most High, and part of doing that was growing dreadlocks. You understand? So he's black. He likely has dreads. He loves us only. That's what he says in his Bible. And he's sending our brother Yahushai, ignorantly called Jesus, to punish everyone who doesn't follow spiritual law, starting with us. And we're supposed to be his priests. You can read that in 2nd Ezra 6:54 to 57 and 1 Peter 4:17. Essentially, I'm warning you to pay attention, family, to what's happening spiritually when you game in order to save your soul. Success on earth means nothing if you fail your spiritual test, family. You can learn more about who we are, um, you know, and how to begin passing your tests by visiting yahawashai.ca. Okay? In conclusion, the gaming industry is just another form of enchantment used to destroy our souls. It has been bad since its inception as an industry, okay? The first games created were just to have fun, harmless. But since its inception as an industry, gaming's been garbage and has gotten progressively worse, just like its father, the US empire. It mostly repeats the oppressions that indoctrinate our minds into white supremacy. It will not change what it is doing, but we can change the kinds of games we play, and we can make our own games based on truth. Remember, the whole world was made for our sake. God tells you that in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, 54 to 59. So we need to engage with what serves us while we serve our God, right? Don't engage with things just because you're desperate, man. Engage with games that serve you and your God. It's fun, it's clean, it allows you to express righteousness, you know? If it doesn't, man, you got no business playing that, man. Leave it alone, you know? So be aware, be diligent, family, and come home, all right? As they release this Kingdom Come Deliverance Part 2, if you've been watching the footage, you already know who it's for, right? Don't be a beggar, be a God. Peace.